Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and here is part 2 of my changes wish list, which is all about character balance changes. So part 1 was all about system level changes like mechanics and that kind of stuff, so this will all be about specific character balance. Now before I go into any further detail, I'm going to say right now, I am a bigger fan of buffing bad characters up than I am of nerfing good characters down. I think good characters are a good thing. I think people like playing good characters because it's fun to have a character with a lot of options, or at least, incredibly interesting options, right? So that said, you're going to see more buffs than nerfs here. And also that said, I think there's more than a few characters that are just good where they are. Now, I know for some of you looking maybe for specific changes don't want to hear that, but the following characters, specifically Kid Buu, Trunks, Hit, Gotenks, and Android 18, I think, are all perfectly good where they are right now. Now, does this mean they're the best characters in the game? No, absolutely not. But it does mean I think all these characters have very good defined roles, and they're good at everything they want to accomplish at this game. They obviously have certain flaws too, but I feel they are complete packages and represent fully what the intended gameplay was for them, and it was meant to be. So as it stands, I currently think these characters are more than good where they are. So you may obviously agree or disagree with that, but that's my personal decision, so I'm sticking with it. Now that said, I'm going to start with the buffs, and then I'm going to move to the nerfs, because I know everyone loves nerfs more and it's more juicy, so I'll save that to the end. Check the timestamps in the video description, because I'll timestamp everything here. But let's start at the start here. So first up, we're going to talk about Tien, Krillin, and Teen Gohan. Tien is actually a much better character than I think most people give him credit for, but still, the one real thing that sticks in, out to me is the Tri-Beam. Not the Neo Tri-Beam, the regular Tri-Beam. So, if you're not already well aware, it does permanent damage. Let's just set the damage recovery here, just so you can see it. So, this is permanent damage. This is not recoverable damage, and I guess the idea is it scales a bit better than most level 1 supers, yes, but it doesn't scale a lot better. It's about 100 and some points of damage, and it doesn't rate losing 10% of your health unrecoverable. I believe that Tien should be able to, if you got to keep the self-damage, sure, but make it blue recoverable health. I feel it's very needless on the level 1. Now, the level 3, well, I don't know, you can argue it, I guess. Like, for example, here, all you need is 5 bars, sparking, and that's it. You don't need assists, you don't even need the corner. All you need is one hit, and this can happen. So he can get rid of you just by himself, right? That's kind of unique to him. Once again, doesn't need all the corner stuff, doesn't need any assists at all, just himself in a couple bars. So for that, yeah, sure, Neo Tri-Beam, I guess the health penalty is more than fair. But for regular Tri-Beam, man, it just doesn't rate. I don't get the sense of it. I don't think it should be there to begin with, but if it has to be, blue health is the way to go. Next up, Krillin. I've seen the hitbox data on this, and honestly, his crouching heavy is abysmal. Like, I know he's little, he's got little arms and all that, but really, compared to, a lot of other characters, even in the completely average character, it's just trash. So, a generous hitbox buff would not be out of line, I don't think, at all. And the other thing I was thinking about for Krillin, and once again, I don't want to go into like a billion little details for every character, except for maybe Nappa, because that's, where my heart is. But, I just think about, quality of life buffs here. So Krillin, I got something like a stand medium, right? It's got a little bit of range. So, it's obvious they're not scared of Krillin having some range options. So, why not just let him have a little bit more, Like, let him stand out in that regard. Let him have a very good advancing normal. Like a lot of characters, like Frieza has a very good advancing, stand M. So, there's not a monopoly on this, so why not him, Give him something to really threaten you with for mid-screen, because he's pretty good up close. And, he's got a standard beam and can do a beam in the air, so he can threaten from distance, but his mid-range is really bad. And so give him that, just help him be a better all-around character. It doesn't hurt nobody. I don't think anyone would argue it that Krillin needs to be weak mid-screen, because, Krillin's unplayed, very lesser played character for a reason, because, he's severely lacking in some aspects. So if you're willing to give him that much, you know, right here, why not just give him a little bit more? And even then, the sweep also moves him a little bit further. Just move that a little bit further yet. Give him a little bit of range. Give him something to work with. Now, Team Gohan, it's not so much any one move I think needed to be buffed, because I think the design is pretty clear on him. He is very much a dynamo up close. He has higher than average damage, especially thanks to bomb loops and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, and his pressure up close is very strong. But as soon as he's, like, you know, say this far from you or further, like, look at that, like, he's just not a threat unless he's right in your face. And he doesn't have anything to facilitate getting in your face other than just, you know, rushing in. So why not make him a more complete package? Like, why doesn't he have a beam? Why doesn't he have the Masenko? Like, Kid Gohan did the Masenko more than the adult Gohan ever did, right? So why not? Give him a much more all-around thing. He can still retain his strengths. He can still be pretty bad at mid-range, that's fine. But give him something to at least, you know, not make you laugh him off from full screen. Like, he's got basic key blasts, and they're very bog standard. Yeah, he's got the bomb, and does a bit more damage than average, I suppose. But even then, the bomb's still basic key blast, so it doesn't really matter. It's not threatening in any proper capacity. So why not just help round out his moveset a little bit and give him a beam, which honestly, I'm surprised he never had it to begin with. And I'm sure a lot of you are too, that he never had the Masenko to begin with. And besides, it's not like we have to worry about overlapping inputs anyways, because quarter circle back and quarter circle forward special button do literally nothing anyways. So fill up that slot and do something with it, you know? Next up we have Piccolo, and I only got one change here. As once again, I don't feel the need to, you know, nitpick a million little details, as some characters have flaws and I feel those flaws are intentional. So Piccolo mid-screen is not the best, and I feel that's intentional versus, you know, him being a complete beast in the corner. So the one thing I would say is just his light slicer attack here. It should cause a slide out knockdown. I don't know why. It doesn't. Like, if you want a slide out knockdown mid-screen, you have to burn a bar. I don't think any single person watching this video right now would say if this was a slide out knockdown for no bar, it would be too much. If you do, please give me your reasoning in the comments. But I think it's more unfair. It's one of the biggest complaints, if not the single biggest complaint about the character, that he can't get a slide out knockdown mid-screen without a bar. And I think it's ludicrous he has to spend the bar to do it to begin with. I don't find any logic or any reasoning to it. So my one big change for Piccolo is make that a slide out knockdown, the light version, so he does not have to burn bar to get a slide out knockdown mid-screen. His neutral, you know, still whatever, because it more than makes up for it in his corner game with all the Hellzone grenade stuff, and he can put a way above average damage in the corner due to it. So keep that strength there, keep, you know, his weakness mid-screen, sure, but at least let him have something, a basic tool that pretty much most of the rest of the cast can do. Now, Frieza was actually very close to being on my perfectly fine as-is list. There's only one small change I want on Frieza, and that's this. Let the assist track. Or at the very least, increase the minimum distance or something like that. I don't think anyone would argue the assist is, you know, it's even if it perfectly tracked, it would still not be one of the better assists in the game. It would still not be anywhere good as Vegeta's, would not be any good, anywhere near as good as Kamehameha's. So let him do it up close, just to help people with combos and stuff. It would just be a good quality of life thing. Make him a better overall character. Make people, you know, a lot less scared to have him anywhere but on point. Because I know a lot of people who play him only play him on point because they don't like how the assist works. So let him have that. For Ginyu, one thing I would like to see, and I don't know honestly how you'd implement it, but I would love to see some way just to reset the order of the Ginyu Force. So say for whatever reason you're on Raccoon and you'd like to go back to Guldo, just, you know, hit whatever command. It could be like a double down command or something like that, and just be able to, like, you know, do a little pose and your order is reset. Now another thing, and this is more of a, you know, waiting for like a Super Dragon Ball FighterZ or like the next revision of the game. Currently, you know, quarter circle back and special does nothing, so I'd like each Ginyu Force member just to get one additional move. Ginyu obviously is handicapped by having to wait on his rotation, so just to give just a little more flair, because for the most part, each of the characters has a right move. Like, maybe Guldo's the only one where both of them are really viable, but, you know, for Birder, maybe sometimes you want to do the basic one for the pressure, and for Jace, this is always the right answer. Why would you ever do the basic Jace key blast? Like, I don't understand why. Now that said, the other thing is the shoulder check here. Why on earth does this move allow for mid-air recovery? I don't understand. It should at least let them hit the ground and they do the normal grounded recovery. But since this allows for mid-air recovery, they can just recover right in my face and be back on top of me after I did my move. And that seems it's dumb. Like, I got no other word for it. And like, say you want to do it in the corner here, then they can escape the corner. Like, it just seems poorly thought out. Like, I do not know why this move allows for an air recovery at all, and it really should be a grounded recovery. So they can still recover, absolutely not like a hard knockdown or nothing like that, but it shouldn't allow for them to forward tech if it connects. That's very silly. For Super Saiyan Goku, I only got one change, and it's about the Kamehamehas themselves. So he's indisputably, you know, or at least supposed to be indisputably the master of the Kamehameha, because, you know, he can do it straight, he can angle it upwards, he can do it straight in the air, and he can angle it downwards in the air, sure. But herein lies the problem, the angled downwards one. So Cell's another character that can angle his downwards, and honestly his is strictly superior to Goku's. The angle is much more aggressive here. Like, from even this distance right here, Cell would easily connect, whereas Goku misses by quite a bit. And of course, you know, one of the attractive elements to this is like, oh, connects, cool, vanish, and you'll get whatever combo. So I feel that his angle should be basically switched. Cell should have this angle, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and Goku should have the very aggressive, you know, much more far-reaching angle that Cell currently has. So just kind of cement his status as just he's got a beam for every situation, and lets him be very aggressive from all ranges. Now Vegeta Blue, he has a lot more of a shared normal moveset than Goku Blue does. And, you know, like, these are like literally copy and paste from the other Vegeta. So I don't want to say, you know, reanimate those moves or something, because, you know, that's maybe a bit more work than they're willing to put in. But what I would say is this. So he obviously doesn't have an invincible move like Vegeta does. He obviously doesn't have the assist Vegeta does and all that. So what should be the real big differentiator between him and Vegeta, and this is what I thought of, is the Rekkas. So his Rekkas here, as you can see here, you know, you can change them up, you can do all sorts of versions here. One of the, if not the biggest thing about this, at least always stuck up to me, this is not my character, I'll be the first to admit, but it always stuck up to me, is each successive hit of the Rekka advances your damage scaling by 1. So, here, we'll just turn on our damage values here. So, this is just a light Rekka here. So, one hit does 500, and they all do 500. However, if you're doing it successively, as you can see here, 400 to 350, so each one advances the damage scaling by a tick. So I would say this. Each hit of the Rekka scaling, have them not advance the damage scaling past the first hit. Let all the Rekkas play out, and just let it be that. So overall, he'll do a little bit more damage, and be a little more differentiated from regular Vegeta, as this is the guy who does the damage. Regular Vegeta already has, you know, kind of below average damage for the most part. So make Blue Vegeta, who's, you know, supposed to be, by definition, a very aggressive character, let him have, through this virtue, he gains more damage overall, and let him just work with that. It's not a, you know, game-changing thing. His basic gameplay will remain the same. He doesn't have to drastically rework the character. So let him have that. So each Rekka past the first basically does not advance damage scaling, so he can get a little bit more damage out of his combos. Goku Blue, two changes I would like to see are this. So he has the 1-inch punch here, and I honestly would just like to see the move start up just a couple frames faster. Even if it was a few frames faster, honestly, I don't find this a very scary move in any way, shape, or form. You have to burn a bar to really get anything real out of it. So let it be a couple frames faster, you know, let it be a threat, right? And that said, the other thing here is, I've been vocal about this before, I think the Goku Blue assist is probably the single worst assist in the game. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but, you know, that's the thing about opinions, they do differ. So what I would like is this. Either have it start up a bit faster, or let it be an actual overhead. Like, let it, you know, be something scary. If it was an actual overhead, then all of a sudden, you know, we got something to work with. Like, yeah, now we gotta have, like, you know, 50-50 protection of the game, sure. Like, you know, we can't overhead low in the same frame. But, you know, it's not like this game already hurts for very hard to block high-low stuff already, right? So let's just go with it. And let it be something special, you know, let it be something people actually want to use. Versus, oh, well, you know, let's slide out knockdown for some characters who can't do it. But, you know, that's not very fun or interesting, really. So let it be a threat. Let it be something people actually got to think about. That's what I say. Now for Beerus, I know the most popular one people want for a buff here is for the orbs to be real projectiles. So, you know, they could clash with the real projectiles, they won't trade with basic key blasts, and, you know, you can't just homing dash your own. Now, honestly, I think that actually might be a bit much, because if they're true projectiles, well then, a lot of characters who can't do anything, like, say, your Team Gohans, they can't do anything but basic key blasts, they're just boned. Like, Kid Gohan, if Beerus just goes and does like this, what can Team Gohan do if they're all real projectiles? His basic key blast won't go through it. He's like literally just protected from it. You'd have to call in like a beam assist or something to clear it out. So I don't think it should be a true projectile. I know that's what a lot of people want, but I actually think it might be a bit much. Now that said, I still think there should be some changes. First up, I actually think the assist. So the assist here, if you're not familiar, he kind of kicks out the ball. Now, if it misses for whatever reason, the projectile disappears. So it actually does not work at all like the basic thing where it stays out. So I would like the assist, you know, just spice it up here and make it a much more valuable assist, because Beerus is already one of the least played characters in the game. You know, just give him something to work with. Let that, if it misses, let that assist orb stay on screen for the usual duration. And maybe you can debate whether or not the person can kick it around like Beerus can, but it would spice it up. And the other thing, so if you played any amount of Beerus, I know you already know about the sweep. So his sweep goes like, so he can combo from 90% of the screen. And I say, make that his thing. So maybe the orbs as they stand are unimpressive, but if you buff them, they can be over buffed, so that's kind of sticky. But if he's got the range, make him the master of range. Like, his standing medium moves him forward a little bit, but it's not really an impressive amount. Like, it doesn't even hit from stand right one fight, whereas someone like Frieza totally does, right? So why does Frieza have a longer range move than the guy who's already got, like, you know, the best range sweep in the game? So make him the master of that. Give this like 3 times the range it has already. Make it stand heavy. It doesn't even hit the full part of where like the key exploding out of his hand. It's not even, the hitbox is not even that, all that. It's most of that, but not all that. Expand that out. Let him have the giant normals. That's his thing. Because like in the air is down heavy, already goes pretty far too. So he can really threaten people who want to jump a lot with it. So just let him be the master of normals. Let him have the big normals. So if you're anywhere, you always have to worry about him rushing in with the sweep, or stand medium should be a thing, or if you're like roughly from here, you should worry about it standing head. The package, just, you know, go all the way with what you've already set the precedent for, and make him the master of normals. So Yamcha is another character I think is a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for, and his only change I would personally recommend is much the same as I mentioned with Vegeta Blue. So Wolfang Fist here, each successive hit brings down the damage scaling by 1 tick for each hit, and it just utterly destroys his combo damage. So just an example here, so we see here the last hit's 132, but if we mix up a little bit here further away, we see here now that last hit's at 176 because we didn't have the preceding 2 hits before it, just to show you how each successive hit brings down your damage scaling by 1 tick. So maybe it can't work exactly the same as Vegeta, because, you know, well, whatever, I'm not the one in charge of the balance rate. These are just purely my suggestions. So maybe don't do it for every hit, only like 1 per, so that would only be 2 hits of scaling versus 1 hit of scaling, or, you know, 12 hits of scaling, that is. But maybe like every 3rd hit is 1 it scales, or something like that. I don't know. But as it stands, it just completely cripples his combo damage. There's been a lot of times where I've been comboed by Yamcha, and in the end I look at him, I'm like, that's it? Really? I'm like surprised how little it did. So I would just say ease up a bit on it, let him have a bit more damage, because once again, he's not got a lot. Like, he's not going to, you know, basic key blast. His Kamehameha is the slowest of all of them. It's still very good, because having Kamehameha is absolutely better than not having one. Any sort of beam, sure. But, you know, he's meant to be get in there and, like, kind of work his magic. So let him have it. Maybe the teleport one, yeah, let that one scale like crazy, sure. Because that's basically unblockable online anyways. And it's still incredibly difficult to block even if it's not online or not. So let him, you know, be able to do that, and they scale that one really badly. But the basic one here that hits in front, don't cripple the damage on that. Let him have some damage here, so his damage output just isn't lower than average. Android 21, I got a couple here actually, because I feel she's on the cusp of being, you know, more than just an average character. And the big things that really stick out to me is this one in particular is just her jumping key blast. So obviously she doesn't have an aerial projectile, that's like a real projectile unless she manages to absorb it from someone. And the real thing that always stuck with me is why on earth doesn't move her forward? So a lot of times if you are, you know, in a position where you want to use an aerial ki blast, you're usually trying to back up or something. So at the very least, some projectiles in the air, basic ki blast that is, they keep your momentum if you are backdashing or forward dashing or whatever. Or, you know, at least you stay still. But at the very least, let her stay still. So if I'm backing up and trying to backdash in the air, just let her backdash and do it and stay still without, you know, just moving forward and just ruining it all. Like, is her basic ki blast in the air a bit better than a lot of the other characters? Yeah, sure, a little bit better, not a lot better. But the fact that she moves forward and has to get closer to the enemy, in my opinion, is a massive drawback and kills a lot of the one that used to use it. So I would just say, just let her stay in place. Don't move her forward while she does it, just let her stay in place. Now that said, also her down heavy. So her down heavy has fantastic hitbox, still not as good as Goku Black, but still fantastic hitbox. And I can tell by is very much on purpose meant to be a strong down heavy. However, has a critical weakness in that her down heavy leaves her airborne after it's done. So say we, and I'll just put the enemy to block here. So say we do it here, and then I can like cancel too. You can see here, like that's her aerial absorb move. So on top of that, I can't, you know, backdash or a forward dash in the air at all. The most here I can do is like cancel the homing dash, which, you know, not something you want to do. So I would say you can leave the animation as is or whatever you want, but just make it so it's a grounded move. A lot of people, when they down heavy, that's not all she wrote. You can down heavy, then, you know, special cancel or something. Make it, you know, like Goku Black's a prime example, because you block the down heavy, you're still in the mix-up. You're not done yet. Because you got to worry about Kamehameha, you got to worry about the Zamasu grab, and all sorts of other stuff. So I would just say let her just be grounded. Like the animation, sure, she's in the air, but as for canceling purposes, let her be grounded. So if she so chose, she can cancel into her fireball, which, you know, you can still deflect and punish and all that kind of stuff. But give her an option other than just being airborne, because it's pretty rotten, and it really dissuades her from using a move that on paper should be good and designed to, and it looks like it's designed to be good. And that said, two more. One, just her fireball. Just make it a frame or two faster. It's very underwhelming, and I can't really say much more than that. It's just underwhelming. Make it a frame or two faster. Like, give me a little bit of reason to want to use it. And finally, the absorb. Now, this one I feel is going to be pretty contentious, but you know, I put my fair amount of time into her, and I would say normalize it. So we got 4 slots. One for the ground version, one for the air version that's quarter circle forward, one for the quarter circle back version on the ground, one for the quarter circle back version in the air. And I would just say this. I do the quarter circle forward version, I fill both slots. I get both the ground version of the absorb and the aerial version of the absorb. And much the same would apply for the quarter circle back version. As it stands, absorb is really not good. Now I'm sure at this point in the game, you've all seen some of the combo videos where like, you do Kamehameha into warp and all that stuff, and those are not real match practical at all. They look fantastic in training mode, and they're cool, and they do high damage, but in real match situations, it's almost never going to happen. It's in it's not practical in the least, so just let her, you know, get the real benefit out of it. So if I want the homing orb and I stole it from Frieza, let me have the aerial one too. Make it so I only need 2 absorbs to get all 4 of my slots filled, which and then would make her EX version of Fireball a lot more practical, because then you would have a lot more to dump into it. And that's just where I personally feel. Like, she's one of my most played characters, and honestly, I don't even want the absorb move sometimes. I'd rather just have the grab to get past their block. And for a lot of characters like the homing ball, I find it a hindrance, honestly. I don't find much value in it. So if I want value in anything other than, like, say, the Kamehameha or something like that, give me both versions. That's where I'm at with it. I know, once again, this will be a contentious one. I'm sure some of you will disagree, but that's currently where I'm at with it. And finally, for the buffs portion of this video, I'm going to leave off here with Majin Buu and Nappa. I've been vocal before, and I've even made my tier list. I think these are the 2 worst characters in the game, and Nappa is even worse off than Majin Buu is overall. Now, Majin Buu, first one, and I have no idea why in the world this is the case. His stand jab cannot hit crouchers, and on the smaller characters, he can't even hit them standing. There is zero reason for this to be the case. I have no idea why it is the case. I have not heard a single defensible position why this should be the case. This absolutely should have its hitbox expanded much lower down to be able to hit crouching people and hit the smalling characters standing. It's patently absurd why it's not the case. It only hurts them. It makes them a very unattractive pick. I know a lot of people who have been scared off the character on that alone, let alone everything else. That the standing jab is a completely unreliable move. It's the most unreliable standing jab in the game by a mile. And there's no reason why it should not be able to hit people crouching, let alone the small characters standing. It should absolutely 100% be normalized and just be able to hit everyone just like any other person's standing jab. There's no reason for it. And I guess I'm getting a little heat about it, but I really feel strongly about this one. And next up on the list here is this crouch medium. So it actually got some decent range here, and I'll turn off block here. And as you can see here, it's got a little bit of like a suction property. So as it hits, it brings you in towards Majin Buu. So all I would ask of this move in particular is just increase that vacuum a little bit. Majin Buu's combo structure is way different than everyone else's if you're not familiar with how he works. So a lot of people do like, you know, crouch medium, stand medium, jump cancel, but you know, he can't because the stand medium is super slow and it's an overhead. So he literally cannot combo crouch medium and stand medium. So what he normally does is something like this, where he'll go his sweep into down key blast, into jab, into a jump cancel. So it's way different than everyone else. But the thing is here, at certain ranges here, his sweep will not even connect into his down key blast, which will just destroy your combo. And it's already bad feels because, you know, the jab sucks, so you got to start your combo with like something like that into a move that's not, you know, safe and really unblocked, or, you know, can cancel on anything that's particularly safe on block. Because even if you go for basic key blast, you're allowed to homing dash through those on block. It's just, you know, at least give him something to, you know, incentivize him to want to keep going forward, because it is really bad feel to go for that and then your only real combo route drops. And finally, his level 1. I actually like the level 1 for a lot of reasons, because, you know, it's basically the screen, right? But the one thing I would say is make it somewhat similar to Kid Buu. So when you do it, it flows them to the top of the screen and they get the air recover out. And because they can air recover out, they can just air recover up forward. So say you do it in the corner, they're at the top of the screen, they can freely air recover out, and now you're cornered. And yeah, you can like try to homing dash after them, but they block, you're now in the corner for daring to do your super. So all I would ask is, this move will happen, and either you don't fling them up high or whatever, just make sure they hit the ground so they can do a grounded tech only. So you don't lose the corner for automatically daring to do your own super. You know, a lot of characters don't work that way, so why should Majin Buu? And not only that, flings them up high enough that you can't do anything about it. At the very least, if you kept him like roughly head level, he could like jump backwards to try to catch it, or, you know, like wait for you to do it, then down heavy on the other side. At least something about it, right? So either keep him much lower to the ground, or just let him hit the ground and do a grounded recovery. Alright, so Nappa. This list is going to be the longest of all the characters. If you don't already know, I put a lot of time in the Nappa. I love the character, and it sucks, but I gotta say he's unequivocally the worst character in the game. So with that said, let's start with this. So let's look at this crouch medium. I bet you think this is a low. I bet you think that. However, let's just do standing block. This move is not a low, just so you know. His stand M's a low. That has to be blocked low. But this move that's like one of the most obvious sweep looking moves in the game is not actually a low. So the first thing I would say is make it a low. Like, it is not going to be affecting balance. You know, a lot of people can sweep from further away than this. Like, you know, Gohan can hit you from a sweep like this far away. So what does it hurt for let Nappa have his move that looks like a low actually be a low? Now that set up, the Blazing Storm, that's his explosion here. I feel this move should be either one of two things. So either the startup should be faster than it currently is, not a lot faster, but faster. Or the move, because it has some tracking, should track a lot better. Because if I do this and the enemy's already moving, it miss. It's just going to miss. That's how it is. So if it has fast enough startup, maybe it has a chance to hit. or just give it much better tracking than it currently has. It already has, you know, a lot of flaws, loses to all the beams because it's a weaker class of projectile than any of the other fireballs. It doesn't reach full screen, so, you know, give it a little more pizzazz, give it a little more something. So faster startup or much better tracking on the explosion is what I asked for. And moving onwards from that is his armor move. So if you're not aware yet, Nappa is tied for slowest moves in the game as far as normals go. And we'll talk about that in a second. But this is actually his fastest move, the startup. So I would ask, just make it a smidge faster. And I should suppose, clarify just a smidge, the hit part here is obviously not faster than the jab, right? But the armor starts up quicker than his standing jab does. So in a situation where you're both beside each other, this is generally your better option. So all I ask is just let the armor start a frame or two earlier, because he's already, you know, he's already got a rough go of it. So just let him have that, because you know the reward for getting hit is not very big. You do get the counter hit combo off of it, it's massively scaled, so it's still not much. But at least give him an option when his back's to the wall. Now that said, we mentioned the normals. So his crouching light, as far as I can tell, is the only 8-frame crouching light normal in the game that does not hit low. So it has the speed penalty that a lot of the crouching lights do that hit low, except for the part where it doesn't hit low. So it literally is only penalized for being a crouching light, with none of the upside of all the other crouching lights that are 8 frames hit low. So why is what I'm asking. So please either make it a frame faster or just let it hit low. Like as we mentioned here, this is his only low, his stand medium. He has no other lows right now. So just let him have it. That's all I'm saying. Let him have it. Come on. Just let him have it. Now let's keep the train rolling. So next up here is the light arm breaker. So this move is an actual overhead, and that's great. However, it does not allow for slide out knockdown like the medium and the X versions do. So all I would ask is let the light, you know, be a slide out knockdown. It already doesn't do as much damage as the medium, so it's not damaging. You're just fishing to confuse people with an overhead, because a lot of the point of this combo, you know when the low is going to come. So at least give them a bevy of options to at least threaten the overhead. And that said, and this one I consider, this is maybe wishing for the moon here. Nappa is already one of the most bar-hungry characters in the game, if not potentially the most bar-hungry character, tied with Majin Buu. So let the EX version of the overhead be something, because right now this move kind of has no value as far as I'm concerned. So let it be a true hard knockdown. Maybe, and once again, that's experimental. This one's just me wishing for a character I like, I guess. That's kind of why I saved Nappa for last. But Nappa already has to burn so much bar. He's completely dependent on assist to do anything in the game. And I'm not even asking to change that, because that's, I think that's by design. Either that or they totally didn't know what they're doing when they designed Nappa, and I don't want to believe that. So let him keep those weaknesses. But if you got to burn all this bar, just stay competitive. Let him burn bar and just have like one big strength. Let him get the true hard knockdown, so you can plant your sideman and then go from there without having to worry about them air attacking and just air dashing out of the corner, something like that. Now I got 3 more. Once again, Nappa's my boy. I got to stick up for him. He's bad. He needs help more than anyone else. So 3 more. First up, the level 3. It's the worst level 3 in the game. Inarguable. You cannot argue this. It's the worst level 3 in the game. The hitbox is bad. It's even not as good as it looks like. On top of that, you don't get the beam if it's blocked. And this is one that makes me want to put my head through the wall every time I see it happen, where I'll do a reversal and he hits the assist and then I get hit in the head because the hit was used up on the assist, which means you don't get the beam and you just get punished for doing your successful reversal. So all I would say is this. So you know if it hits, he does the beam, cut the middleman out, just go right into the beam. The part where it hits is useless. It only hurts, it doesn't help. Just let him go right into the beam. You can start with that cinematic where he kind of rears back. Just go right into it. Let him have the beam like a lot of the other characters have. It would just make him average at best, you know? Just let him have it, because the hit part is just frustrates me to no end. And a lot of times I can just sit there just wondering why did I pick Nappa. And that's not a good feeling. And on the why did I pick Nappa train, so he has a nice little Easter egg if you're not aware, down and heavy in the air. If you hold it, he does the thing where Vegeta told him to stop before he hit Gohan and he freezes in the air. Please remove this entirely or make the hold a lot longer for it to come out. There's been a lot of points where I accidentally hold the button a frame too long, my combo drops, and it literally costs me the game for this dumb gimmick move that doesn't do anything. So I am only angry to see it. I'm never happy to see it ever in a match. Usually my face turns bright red, and I kind of want to stop playing the game for the rest of the day. Just get rid of this. It's a neat little Easter egg, I guess, but get rid of it or make the activation a few frames longer than it is, so I don't accidentally do it and drop the combo and lose the game. And the final thing is EXI Men. So I would like the EXI Men, because you do have to burn a bar on this on a very not sure thing, because you can literally homing dash past the side man and brush it away, right? So I would ask this, the EX, and only the EX, so not the regular versions, only the EX, give it a hit of soft armor. And what I mean by soft armor is like when you call in Raccoon with Ginyu for the Miracle Fighting Bomber. So you can easily walk past him. He doesn't obscure you in any way. If you hit the button, you can still hit the other guy through on the other end, but he still persists for a few hits. That's what Raccoon does. So I would say, basically, let the Sidemen, EX Sidemen, take one hit. It can be a homing dash, it can be a basic jab, but let him take one hit, and then he can go away like normal. So that hit wouldn't stop me, from getting hit on the other end or anything like that, but, just make it more worthwhile. Because outside of a few edge case scenarios, it's almost never worthwhile to burn bar on the EX Sidemen. So it would make it a lot more valuable if that was the case. And that's the end of the Nappa stuff. Now on to the nerfs, because I know y'all love nerfs. Now for the nerfs, once again, I don't think it's a crime to be strong. I like characters that are strong. I don't want people to feel weak. I'd much rather buff people up than nerf people. Now that said, I still think some of these characters need the slightest of tone downs. So Goku Black, I only got two things for Goku Black. One is, you're not surprised, are you, right? All I ask for this is just tone down the hitbox a smidge. I've been blasted by this when it looks like I'm not even close to it. And that's kind of frustrating to see. You get hit by a move that doesn't even look like you're anywhere near it. So just tone the hitbox a little bit. That's all I ask for. And the other thing here is the medium God Slicer. So all I ask for this one here is specifically lower the forward momentum of it a little bit, especially during the blast phase. Because the move, I see a lot of people, they have both assists and their assists are tailored around this, and all they do is flit around and try to call their assists while, they're in the air and incredibly safe. It's a zero consequence move, zero risk move while you call your assists, and all you're doing is trying to actively not engage. And it's very different than zoning. I don't know. Is it a valid playstyle? Sure, I guess. But this is my video, and I don't like it, so that's why I'm making this call. I just have no respect for this style of play at all. And the thing that's really frustrating about it is it's very effective. And that's really frustrating. Where people are just actively flitting around, avoiding engagement, and using this just to bypass the whole screen, calling assists you cannot see from the bottom of the screen in hopes of hitting you and just going over your head. And it's just an incredibly annoying playstyle. It doesn't hurt the spirit of the move at all to ruin its forward momentum a little bit and just kind of lower that playstyle down. The higher and higher ranked people I fight, that's Goku Black, that's seemingly the main game plan. And once again, I just got no respect for that style of play, and since it's my video, that's the nerf I'm calling for. Now for Super Saiyan Vegeta. I'm sure you're wondering why is he on the nerf list, because nothing about the character, really bears nerf. And it doesn't. This is a visual change only. Visual change only. So they changed Piccolo in the last patch for the Hellzone Grenade to kind of have the visual noise thrown into the background. Because, it basically obscured a lot of stuff. And that's the same thing I just asked for Vegeta. Make it so when he does his assist, a lot of that visual noise is kind of thrown a little bit more background. Because between that and the block stun, it is basically impossible to see high-low mix-ups. And I just normalize it like they normalize with Piccolo. It's visual clutter. The move's already plenty strong as it is. Especially after Goichi finally beat Sonic Fox, I think all the Vegeta assist naysayers are finally shut down. This is clearly the best assist in the game with no assist coming close. Just reduce the visual noise. At least let me see the high-low mix-up incoming like I normally can, and react or not react in time to deal with it, sure, and then fail on my own consequences versus this horribly visually noisy mess of massive block stun sparks and smoke everywhere, and I just can't see what's going on. So just remove the visual clutter on that. Alright, now we're starting with Adult Gohan. I know a lot of people want to see what I think for nerfs for Adult Gohan. And I'm not going to go as hard as you guys think I'm going to go. Once again, I like characters to be strong. It is fun for a character to be strong. It is not fun for an uninteresting, weak character. So keep the strong character strong. Now, that said, I got 3 changes in mind. One of them is a bug fix. So, first up here. If you're not already aware, and I made a video about this, so you know about the whole EX leg stuff. And he's got a lot of silly combos in the corner using machine gun legs where you can just kind of rep over and over and over. So, the thing is here, it's actually different when he's like base Gohan versus level 1 and up. And now, generally speaking, for the pressure and the combos, it's actually worse for him to be level 1 than it is for him to be level 0. In terms of pressure, a lot more people can get out of level 1 than they can get out of level 0, and the combos are actually kind of more damaging in the level 0 version because they work on more of the cast. So that said, I would like to normalize how the machine gun legs work and make it all just work across the board like it does level 1 and up. So he still gets the pressure, he still gets the damage, it's just not as much pressure against a lot of the characters and not as much damage in the corner with the loops. So it'll bring his overall damage down, but he still is a very high damage character. He can still do a lot of what he does. It just won't be quite as savage. Now that said, the next thing I would like to change is his aerial EX backhand here. Not so much the grounded one because it actually works different in the air, but the aerial one causes a true hard knockdown, just like Android 16 does. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But considering all the tools in Gohan's thing, like 16, that hard knockdown is the character. Without it, and once again we'll talk about it, there isn't a character. Oh, Gohan already has the world and more. He doesn't need this at all. It's too much. So I would just say let it be a slide out knockdown or something, but don't give him a true hard knockdown. It's just too much. And the final thing here is a bug fix, and I bet a lot of you guys don't even know about this one. So, and let me just turn on my damage just so I can see here. So his crouch light is bugged. As far as combo scaling is concerned, the game treats it as if you're starting a combo with a medium or a heavy, not a light like it is. So if we do something like very basic like this. So I'm going to show you a basic, absolute basic example here. So what we're going to do here is just show you a combo. There we go. So 3,950. Same combo now, starting with a normal light that does scale properly. So you see here quite a bit less damage. 3,400 now. Now same deal, now with this bugged light. So over 4,000 now. So once again, it's just a glitch. This move is bugged. It is not working as intended, does not work like every other light in the game. That I have noticed anyways. So this move here is treated as a medium for combo purposes versus the light that it is. So just revert it, treat it like the medium it is. So he doesn't have, you know, a long reaching quick move to start off his sweep and all that stuff. Because, you know, he already has enough damage as it is. He doesn't need even more. On to Android 16. A very divisive one. Not as popular as Gohan and Cell, but, you know, he's kind of still in the widely considered top 3. So this one's difficult. So I know everyone is complaining about, you know, this guy right here, the hard knockdown, and he's got all the mix-ups, and he's got a million layers of mix-up afterwards. So here's where I'm at with this. Once again, I want characters to be strong. I don't want to just needlessly cripple characters that are strong, because I feel that helps nobody in the long run. So if you take away this move from Android 16, you basically shutter him down to average at best. You remove the absolute defining thing of his playstyle. The whole reason he's around, basically, the whole reason he's good is this. If you take it away from him, he's done. He's average at best and maybe below average at worst. So here's where I'm at with that. If you want to keep it, I think it has merit to be kept, but perhaps like turn it into an EX move. So maybe you hold the button, or however you want to change it, you know, it'd be up to developers. Hold the button and then he's got to burn a bar or something. At least, you know, put some cost into it. Make him, you know, burn resource to get that hard knockdown. So that'd be something. And if you had to get rid of it, then I would say do this. So currently, if I guess I just took my damage off, now we got to put it back on. The move here does 1,200 damage, right? If you have to get rid of the hard knockdown, what I want out of this move is it should do 3,000 raw, straight up, at minimum. So this move should be terrifying. This should be like Zangief. If you don't want the hard knockdown, if you do it in the middle of a combo, it's going to scale to nothing anyway, so whatever, doesn't matter. But if you get one of these raw, you should be watching out. If he can't have the hard mix-up, then he needs to be a Zangief-style character and, you know, like, be scary like, you know, these would entail. So if he gets one of these on you, you want everything in the world to avoid it. So turn him into the Zangief-style character, then, you know, the pile driver is what he's actually fishing for the whole time. And it should be a 30-year life bar every time you get smacked by one of these, at minimum. And then still have the option to do a super at the end of it. So if he can't have the hard knockdown, I still want him to be strong, I still want him to be interesting, so that would be my change. Make him a true grappler, and make that grapple strong and scary. Now Cell, honestly, this is hard for me. Cell is the character. He's what every character in the game aspires to be. Is Cell the pound for pound best character in the game? Yeah, he is. And I know a lot of people want to ride the Gohan wave, but Cell, at least in my opinion, is still the pound for pound best character. Every character wants to be Cell. Cell is the complete package. There's no aspect of the game that he's not good at. And since, you know, there's nothing overpowered about any one aspect of the character. It's not like he's got the hard knockdown setups. It's not like he's got like normals that got the whole screen. It's just he's happens to be good at every aspect of the game, but no one aspect stands out. So I basically boiled it down to two things. One's bigger than the other. But first up, we talked about the beam here. This is the beam that this Goku should have, because his beam is just honestly sad in comparison to Cell's beam. Goku should be the Kamehameha master in this game, so honestly I would just say switch to beam angles. So Cell has the more shallow beam angle, Goku has the more screen dominating amazing angle. Because that's a big part of why Cell's good, that he can just own like the screen from any part of it. So I would just say switch those things. It still, Cell would still be an amazing character with a more shallow angle, and it would let the guy who's supposed to be the master of the Kamehameha be the master of the Kamehameha. Now the other thing I thought of, and it took me a while to kind of arrive at this conclusion, part of what makes Cell so good is just combos like this. So this is a combo you've seen a million times over. You know, maybe one hits in a different place or something, but you've seen this combo 1,000 times over by now, I'm sure. And that's part of what makes Cell so good, is he doesn't need assists for damage. You can just spend one bar on that banish and get exceptional above average damage anywhere on the screen, and it only gets bigger in the corner with the loops. And once again, I don't want to get rid of loops. People like the loops, they're fun to do, they're fun to watch, they're cool, leave them be. But his damage is the thing, so he doesn't need an assist to get above average damage. He can do it by himself, and what that means in the end is he always has more assists on deck than everyone else. So he's usually going to have 2 good assists behind him, and he's going to get his good damage, and afterwards he's going to get a setup, and he'll have both assists to back him up to keep that pressure just going and going and going. So that's where I think Cell needs to be toned down. Lower his damage output. Make it so his damage is not above average by himself. Spending 1 bar is not a big deal in the end, considering his combo, the basic combo I just showed you, literally goes corner to corner. He will always bring you to the corner in that combo. So he'll always have the advantage of having you in the corner, on top of the high damage, on top of having both assists. So I would say lower his overall damage. There are characters, you know, that do below average damage, and I would say Cell, honestly, should do below average damage. I'm not saying completely cripple his damage, but he should not have above average damage with all the tools he has. And in fact, since he doesn't need to use an assist, he has an extra assist on deck to keep pressuring you after his combo. So that's where I'm at with Cell. I think that's the fairest thing, without crippling his moveset, without making him less fun to play. He can still do everything he does. Just say that basic combo, maybe knock anywhere from like 400 to 900 damage off of it. So he's more incentivized to want to burn an assist to keep his damage up, and thus, you know, not just have both assists on deck always, because you pretty much always see Cell as a point character, just to keep pressuring and pressuring, and his pressure is above average on top of that. So just incentivize the use of him wanting to use an assist to combo, so he doesn't always have both assists on deck, which only exacerbates his, you know, dominance everywhere on the screen. So that's the video. I hope you didn't find anything too unreasonable, and I know I probably ranted and raved a little bit longer than I meant to when it comes to Nappa and Majin Buu, but once again, I think they're the worst characters and they need the most love. So I feel strongly about that, because I feel they just simply aren't up to par with the rest of the characters in the game. and I just think they need a lot more love. But anyways, feel free to agree or disagree with what I said. Please post your thoughts below in the comments. And yeah, so that's my thoughts. Overall, I think everyone just needs a little bit of tweaks. So no one needs massive reworks except for maybe Majin Buu and Nappa. But I just want people buffed up. I don't want people brought down. That's why I purposely, for the people I do think need some minor tweaking down for nerfs, I didn't want to just, hit them with the ban hammer and just completely cripple the characters. I just want mild to even low nerfs. Keep them strong. Being strong is not a bad thing. It is a good thing and a fun thing for a character to be strong. Just bring characters up to their level so they can be fun and strong too. But anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.